This will be a tutorial on how to make a leprechaun booty with some green and white striped stockings. First, we're going to need some bead thread. I'm using Fireline 6-pound micro fused beaded braided bead thread. And then we're going to need our colors. So this is a pattern that I created, and I don't specify which brand or exact colors to use, but for this one I'm using size 11 seeds beads, and they're check beads. So I've got a white, a black, a gold, and a green. And then I have a size 12 beading needle and my thread already threaded. We'll also need a wire guardian towards the end and an ear hook to be able to wear them as earrings. All right, so for this pattern, we're going to start down here with the booty, and I'm going to start on my first line that does not have any breaks in between the beads and between the pattern. So my first row without any breaks is going to be this third one up, and it is 12 single black beads across. So we're going to do a row of single black beads of 12. All right, so to start that row, we're going to have pick up 2 black seed beads on your beading needle. And since we're starting on the third row, we're going to need to leave enough thread to be able to go back and finish the last 2 rows, the heel and the sole of the shoe. So I'm going to slide these 2 beads down till I get almost to the end of my thread. As you can see, I have it right there. And I'm just going to pull it back up till maybe I have about a foot of thread left. That might be too much, but it might be just about enough. So about a foot left of thread. So you see my beads, and I have about a foot of thread. So once I have them in the spot that I want to start, I'm going to take my beading needle and I'm going to go up that first bead, just like this. And I'm going to pull my beading needle through. And when I pull it tight, you'll see that they kind of line up next to each other. I'm going to put my beading needle back through the second bead. And you see my tail is down here, so I'm just holding it tight so I don't get it wrapped up in my other end of my thread. I'm going to pull that as well. So now they're lying side by side, and I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit more sturdy on my base row, and I'm going to double thread each one of my beads, each one of my 12 beads on this row to give it a little bit more of a base structure. I'm going to go back down. I'm going to kind of move them to where I want and then pull that thread tight. And they should be lined up adjacent to each other like so. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my 12 beads. I'm going to pick up one more bead, one at a time, put it down. And you'll notice both of my threads are down, going down. I'm going to put my beading needle through that second bead, pull it tight. You see it's lining up next to each other nicely. And I'm going to go back up. And I want to create that strong foundation for this first row, so I'm just going to double weave it. All right, so I have my third adjacent bead. I'm going to pick up one more bead. You see my thread is going out the top, so I'm going to go under and push my needle up through that third bead, pull it through, and then I'm going to go back down the bead I just added. And we're creating that strong foundation, so I'm going to just go ahead and double weave it. Now my string is going down through the bottom, so my 5th bead, I'll pick one up, and I'm going to go down the top of that 4th bead. And you'll continue this pattern for 12 beads. and double weaving it. All right, so we have 5 beads. I'm going to go ahead and finish my row of 12, and then we'll start on our next row that we're going to weave. All right, so now we have our 12 beads in a row, single beads in a row. You can see both of our threads are pointing the same way. I'm going to make them to where they go up to the top. So we'll be starting our next row with it looking like this. All right, so our next row, we are on this one. You see we have our next row. We also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You see our next one, it extends out. So instead of a reducing line, we are extending it. So we're going to have another row of 12 black beads. And to make that extension, we're going to pick up 2 black beads. And go under this first loop, this first bridge right here. You see both my beads and my needle is going through that first bridge. And then pull your thread through. And you want to push your needle back up through that second bead, like so. And pull it through. And your bead should be sitting somewhat like that. You see there's a little extension over our first bead. And to make this a secure connection, we're just going to go ahead and double weave it. And then we're going to put a bead onto each one of these bridges until we reach 12 beads. So we'll pick up our next bead. And go under our next bridge, like so. And pull it through. Once you're under a bridge, push your needle back up through the bead to secure it to the design. And now we're looking somewhat like that. Next bead, same process. You want to go underneath that next bridge, 1 bead at a time. And to secure it to the design, go up through the bead. All right, so let's continue that for 12 beads, and then we'll group back up at the end of it. All right, so we finished our second row. We have 2 rows of 12. Our next row, so we started here. Our next row is going to be an extension. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a break of 2 beads, and then 2 more beads over here. So we're going to have an extension, 9 beads, a break of 2 beads, and then 2 more beads. All right, so we'll do our extension in the same way from our last row. We're going to pick up 2 beads and then go under that first bridge of your second row, just like that. And then pull those 2 beads through. Lay them down a little bit flat and go back up that second bead like so, and pull your needle through. And you can kind of see that bead sits out just a tad bit further and just slightly extends that third row to the left. We're going to go ahead and double weave it. just that first 2 beads. The rest of the beads we can just attach with one single pass. So we're looking like that at the moment. So now we have to put on 9 single beads. So our next bead is going to be in that very next bridge from our second row. Pull it through 1 bead at a time. Secure it to your design. Next bead, next bridge. We're on our 4th bead now. 5th bead. Just going to go 1 bridge at a time, 1 bead at a time. Let's go under that bridge and then secure your bead to your design, just like that. So that was our 5th bead. Now we're on our 6th bead. 1 bead, go underneath the next bridge, pull it through, secure it to your design. This will be our 7th. And it's the same process. So just 1 bead, 1 bridge at a time. This will be our 8th bead. And we're going to be on our final bead before we skip 2 spaces. This is our 9th bead. 1 bead, 1 bridge, go up to secure it. All right, so now we need to get to this bridge. You see we're skipping 2 bridges and we're going to get to this bridge. So we can put 2 beads on to where 1 overlaps right here. So on our 3rd row, we're going to skip 2 and put 2 beads on this bridge. Okay. Now we can't just go over like this, because that would put our string showing like that, and we don't want that to happen. So we're going to go backwards. Okay. We're going to go back 1 bead, just like that. We don't have any beads on our thread. We're just moving our needle back 1 row. And now we're going to go down 1 more bead, like so. We're just positioning our needle to where we can get it pointed through here. So we have it right here. Our thread is coming out this bead on this 2nd row. We're going to go up the next bead. And then we're just going to weave it till we get to where our thread is pointing out, where we want to put our next 2 beads. So now our thread is coming down on that 3rd bead on our 2nd row. We're going to go back up 1 more. And now we can attach our 2 beads that are showing here. All right. So I picked up 2 beads. I'm going to go under this 1 bridge. I'm going to go up that 2nd bead. Down the first bead and back up the second bead. I'm going to position this to where, shifting it over just a little bit. And now we have on this little toe, we've got one black bead. So I'm going to go ahead and put that black bead on before we move back to our main boot. So I have one bead, just going over to this one. Then I'm going down. And now we've got that toe of our boot secure. All right, so to start our main, so we just added this over here. And in our fourth row that we're working, so we started here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're skipping 1, 2, 3, 4 beads, and then we're going back to our main boot, and we're gonna have 1 black bead, 3 gold bead, 3 black beads. So we need to get our needle pointing over here, so we can go ahead and start this main row. So we're gonna weave our thread back through our boot till we get to here. And we're just repositioning where our thread, what bead our thread is going to be coming out of. And I want it to be coming out of this second bead on our third row. So now we've got it up. We need to go back down one more. I think this bead that I've got, sometimes you run into like a bead that might be a little bit smaller than the others. So I'm going to change course. So you don't want to break beads. We've already done a lot of work on this little boot. So just going to change. Basically, you can take any path you want. We just want to make sure that we start our bead to where it's coming out of right over here. So now I'm going down that bead. I need to come back up through it. I think this bead is going to break. All right, so I'm almost there. I had to take a detour because one of my beads that I used had a smaller opening than my other bead, so it wouldn't let me pass through it. So basically it's the same end result, but I had to make a detour around that bead. So that happens. Just whole purpose of that exercise was just to get our needle back up to this point. All right, so now we're gonna pick up 2 beads. We're gonna pick up 1 black, 1 gold. And this one's gonna be a reduction. So 1 black and 1 gold. And we're gonna go 1, 2 bridges over, like that. Go up through our gold bead. Back down through our black bead. lay them flat. And there we go. We're off to our 4th row. So now we have 2 more gold beads to do. 2 more gold beads. We're going to follow the same pattern. 1 bead, 1 bridge. There's no gaps, as you can see. So we're going to go 2 more gold, 3 more black, and then we'll meet back up on our 5th row. So I have a 4th row finished. And you can see we are ended in a reduction. Our 5th row is going to be right here. We're going to extend it out. We're going to have 3 black beads, 1 gold, 2 black, 1 gold. So we're going to pick up 2 black beads. We're going to go under that first bridge like that. Go back up through your first bead, pull your thread through. We're going to double weave this first 2 beads on each row. And we had 3 black beads, so 1 more black bead. Now we have 1 gold after this black one. And we're just 1 bead at a time. Our pattern is 1 gold bead through that next bridge. Pull it through. We have 2 black beads for the middle of the buckle. I'm going to start with 1. We're going to put 2 beads, but 1 at a time. And we end this row on 1 gold bead on our last bridge in that row. So this is what our little boot is looking like so far. All right, so our next row is pretty similar to this one. We've got a reduction, and we're going to go 1 gold, 2 black, 1 gold, 2 black. So we're going to pick up 1 gold and 1 black, and it's a reduction. We're going to make this smaller, so we're going to go in that second bridge right there. Pull it through. Go back up your bead, and we're going to double weave it since this is our first row, our first 2 beads on this our next row. And sometimes the very first bead doesn't want to lay down right, so just kind of press it down. We're going to have 1 gold bead, 2 black beads, and then 1 more gold bead, and 2 black beads on our last 2 bridges for this row. So we have 2 bridges left. We're going to put 2 black beads in those spaces. All right, so now we're done with that row, which is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're looking at our 7th one. This is going to close. This is the row that's going to close our buckle. You can see it's this one right here. And we're going to extend out a black bead. We're going to go 3 black beads and 3 gold beads. And it's going to close out our buckle. So we're going to pick up 2 black beads, and we're going to go, since we're going to extend it, we're not going to reduce it. We're going to go down that first bridge right there. Pull it through. Have them lay flat. Go up that first bead on that row, or that is the second bead, but the one closest to you. And we're double weaving it to give it that secure connection for our first 2 beads on the row. So our pattern is 3 black beads. We're going to do 1 more black bead right underneath that next bridge. And to close off the buckle, we're going to have 3 gold beads, and that will end this row. And you see we have, we just put on 1 gold bead. We have 2 bridges left. So we're using up all our bridges in this row. All right, so our little boot is looking pretty good. Our next row is the reducing row, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black beads. So we'll pick up 2 beads. Since the reduction row, we're going to go 2 bridges over, like so. Pull your thread through, go up that second bead, pull it through, double weave it. Try to get them to lay down flat. And we've got 5 black beads, so we're just going to go 3 more beads one at a time. And you see we have 3 bridges left. So we're using all the bridges and we're not extending any beads out. Pretty simple row. All right. Looking pretty good, looking like a little boot. Our next row is another reduction row. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 black beads. So we'll pick up 2 black beads. It's a reduction row, so we're going to go over into that second bridge, pull it through, pull your needle back up through that second bead, and we're going to double weave it to create a first good connection with the first 2 beads on each row. We only double weave on the first 2 beads. The rest of them we can just secure using those bridges. And I just put on the 3rd black bead. We're going to put on 4 black beads and use up all of the bridges in this row. All right, so now we are starting our stockings. You can see this is the row we just finished, the 4 black beads. We're going to be extending out with 1 white bead, and we're also going to be extending out on the end with 1 black bead. So we have 2 extensions on either end. So to start, where our thread is coming out to the right of the boot above the buckle. So we'll be starting with our white 2 beads. There's 4 beads across, but we're going to be starting with 2 white ones. And it's an extension, so we're going to go under that first bridge right here. Pull it through. Double weave it. Try to get those beads to lay down flat. The row has 4 white beads and 1 black bead, so we're going to go ahead and use up our next 2 bridges with our other 2 white beads. And this will be our first extension on the end of a row. We've only done extensions on the beginning. So adding the 4 white beads is similar to the rest of the booty. We are now going to add that final black bead. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go back under that last bridge that our last white bead is sitting under. You can't really see it. So you're going to go back under that last bridge and then secure it like normal. And you've extended the front and end of. It's going to be a common theme for the stockings. You can see our next row is a reduction and on each end. So we're going to use up all of our, we're going to start with 2 green beads, go into the second bridge, and then use up our bridges. The next one's going to be an extension on both ends. So we're going to get 2 green beads and go under the first bridge. So I'll do the green ones together, and then the rest of it is just the same. So we're gonna have 2 green beads rows, 4 and 5, and we're gonna have 2 white bead rows, 4 and 5. And we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of that pattern for green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, that pattern for white. So we'll go through the 1 green, and then I'll let y'all, and then we'll meet back up somewhere over here. All right. So we have our top of our stockings. Started off with white. This is going to be a reduction row. So it's going to be a reduction on both ends. And we're only going to have 4 green beads. So since the reduction, we're going to go under the second bridge of that prior row, like that. Pull your thread through, go back up that second bead right here, pull it through. Since it's our first 2 beads on the row, we're going to double weave it. And we're only got 4 green beads on this row. We're just going to go 1 bead, 1 bridge at a time. And we're using up all of our bridges, and we're not extending it, so we're not double using a bridge. And we have our first green row for our stocking. Our next row has 2, 3, 4, 5 green beads, and it extends on either side. So we're going to pick up 2 green beads. We're going to go, since it's an extension, we're going to go under that first bridge. Pull it through, Get those beads to lay down as flat as you can. Go back up through that second bead. Double weave it since this is our first 2 beads on our row. Pull your thread tight, get those beads to lay down as flat as you can. And we have 2 bridges left, but we have 3 beads left to be put on. So we're gonna go take our next green bead, go under that next bridge, secure it to our design. 1 more bead. This is our 4th green bead, our next bridge. Pretty straightforward. Pull it through and then go up. Now we have 1 more bead to put on. We have 5 beads on this row, so we're going to pick up 1 more green bead. We're going to go back under that bridge we just secured our last bead on, like so. And secure it to our design. So now we have our 2 green bead row on our stockings. So our next row, 4 white beads, 5 white beads. So it's the same concept. We're going to have a reduction row, and then we're going to have an extension row. You're going to have 5 sets of white stripes, 5 more sets of green stripes. You're going to end on a green stripe. So we're right here. All right, well, I will let y'all go. We'll meet back up once we get to the end, and we'll go back down and do our booties. Finish up our boots. All right, so I have completed all of my stockings, and I've repositioned my thread to where it comes out of this second hole right over here. And that is so that I can attach my wire guardian. So later I can attach an ear hook to this earring. So to attach my wire guardian, I'm just going to go up one side of it, go back down through the other loop, and I'm going to go back down through this 4th bead right there. Just pull it through. Just kind of be gentle with it. Just pull it tight. All right, so I want to go back up through a couple of times. So I'm just going to go up that adjacent bead, and I'm going to go back through that top, pull it through, come back down, and go back through. I just poked myself. It hurt. Go back through that second to last bead and pull it through again. Okay. So now your wire guardian is attached, and we just want to weave in the tail of our thread through our stockings. Look, that really hurt. You just want to create a secure ending so that your ear hook does not fall off, and you can just weave through up and down. I like to loop through some until you're confident that your wire guardian's not going to fall off. And I always like to clip my thread to where my it's facing up. So I'm down to about, I don't know, the 4th row. I'm going to go back up. And I'll just go back up one more. And then I'm just going to clip my string. All right, so we are almost done. Let's go ahead and finish out our heel and the sole of our foot, our boot. So we can get rid of that thread. And on our other tail end, where we kept about a foot of string of thread, we're going to go ahead and re-thread that through our needle. Let's take a look at our pattern. So if you recall, we started on this row, so we have 2 rows to complete. And if we turn this upside down like this, you can see our next row is a reducing row, and it skips and it goes all the way through. So we need to make sure that we need to weave our thread down to where it comes back out this hole. So right now it's coming out the opposite end. We need to get it down through here. So I'm just going to choose a path. I'm going to go up that bead right above it. And you remember we double threaded, so don't force it through. You can take any path as long as you get it back through that hole at the bottom. So I think what I'll do, because I was having a really hard time getting it up through this bead and I don't want to crack it, I'm just going to go through this adjacent bead right here, pull it through, and you can see it's a reduction, but if I go ahead and pick up 2 black beads and just go through this next, so we don't want to crack, I don't want to crack my beads. So I'm just going to do a extension like that. And I'll do the same thing as if I started at the very end bead. I'm going to double weave it. So there's always another way to, you know, get the result you want if you can't find a way to, weave it to the spot that you want. You can take a detour, or you can do what I just did. All right, so we are at 3 black beads, because it would be awful if I cracked a bead at the final end. That would not be good. I'd be very upset. So, all right, so now we've got, all right, so because, all right, now we have 2 more rows right here. And because our beads were getting kind of difficult to go back through, I am just going to go ahead and finish this heel right here, and then we'll move on to the last remaining rows of the sole. All right, so we're right here, and we're going to do a reduction 3 beads with an extension at the end. So we're going to go into the second bridge, pull it through, go up the second bead, pull it through, double weave it, and put 1 extension bead at the end. So just go under that final bridge, pull it through, and secure that bead to the design. All right, so now we need to get our needle back over here. So let's go back down this middle bead. I'm just going to weave it through till I get to this bead right here. So we're going to skip one bridge. Actually, I believe maybe this. So we want it to come out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bead at the bottom. So just weave your thread through any way you can to get it to that, to come out of that 5th bead. And try not to crack any beads because we're at the very end of our project and we don't want to mess it up. So I'm still weaving, almost there. Have not cracked any beads. So we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, phew, we made it. All right, whew. All right. So we're gonna have 7 black beads once we get to that 5th. So 1 bead at a time, go under the very next bridge, right here. Sorry. We want to pick up 2 beads. It's almost like we're starting a new row. We're going to reduce it. So we're going to go 2 bridges over, go back through a second bead, now we're going to do one bridge at a time, one bead at a time. So once you get to that 5th bead, you want to pick up 2 beads and then reduce it. So go 2 bridges over. And then 1 bead at a time for 7 beads. I really got myself good putting on that ear guardian. So I'm kind of nervous about poking the needle in my thumb again. All right. We're on our final row. Yay. Gonna try to press those down. Our next row is a reduction. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 beads, and then we just have to secure our tail of our thread, cut it, and attach the ear hook, and this earring will be done. So I just picked up 2 beads for reduction, so I went over 2 bridges, securing them, double looping them, one bead at a time, 1 bridge at a time for the remaining beads. We're on our 4th bead, fifth bead, and our final bead of this earring. All right. We have our leprechaun booty with stockings. And now we're just going to weave this thread up. And remember, you double weaved quite a bit on this booty. So if your needle won't go through a bead, don't force it, or you risk cracking that bead and your project is ruined. So just test it. If it goes through, great. If it doesn't, find another bead to go through. You don't want to ruin your project at this stage. But you do have to secure your thread, or else your work will unravel. So yeah, that's just a little bit too tight for my comfort. Nope. I think I will go ahead and cut my thread. So I don't want to risk cracking any beads, and I don't think these beads are going to go anywhere. So we'll go ahead and clip our thread. And voila. Only thing that's left is to attach your ear hook, which with a pair of pliers you'll be able to do. Thank you for watching. The pattern is, if you want to buy the pattern, the PDF pattern is on sale on my Etsy page. The link is in my bio, my TikTok bio. So if you'd like to make a pair and would like to have your own the pattern, it's on my Etsy page. Thank y'all.